In tantric traditions, at the primary level, the approach is that of having control over sensual desires. However, at a higher level, a revolutionary approach of not subjugating but exploring a psychological path of transformation of desire into spiritual bliss is followed. This is achieved through a tantric yogic process of manipulating subtle wind channels that act as a link between the body and the mind. In the higher stages, the use of transgressive practices associated with the cremation ground and so forth are recommended in tantric texts for achieving an insight of non-dual wisdom. It is suggested that in Tantra at certain transitional states such as meditation and dreaming, the body-mind is in a very subtle state that can be used by advanced practitioners to transform the mind stream. Thus, by changing the gear of consciousness, the practitioner accelerates the process of enlightenment. These transitional states are used for penetrating deep inside the human psyche. Tantra recommends transgressive actions in order to take apart the sense of duality, that is, any knowledge of good and evil, and making the mind free from any sort of conditioning. Such concepts of Tantra connote to the idea of non-dual nature of all existing reality beyond good or evil, and the tantric practitioner must act only with compassion for the benefit of the salvation of the world. Thus, tantric practices are designed in a way to process the dismantling the conditioned known and getting to Sahaj, the last achievement of all thought, perceiving every phenomenon as pure and non-inherent. Such ideologies can be commonly found in the verses of the 84 Mahasiddhas, common to the Hindus and Buddhists, who claimed to be in a state of Sahaj. Traditionally, the practice of Tantra is supposed to be kept secret. Because of this, Tantra has often been subjected to a great deal of misunderstanding. The early research on Tantra has wrongly positioned it in the mode of immoral worship because of its repulsive outward sign and an incomprehensible meaning for an uninitiated person. All Tantra texts warn about its secrecy and put restrictions on independent practice of Tantra in the absence of a qualified guru. The texts clearly state that teachings should not be revealed to those who are not initiated and who lack faith. Thus, public accessibility to authentic tantric teachings is limited. It is also commonly accepted in the tantric literature that the deities do not have a fixed form and they may appear as per the visualizations of the practitioner. The deities are referred to as mind-made formations, manomaya kaya, of the practitioner's own consciousness. Different forms and physical features of tantric deities are symbolic and given in a coded language that is explained in tantric manuals. Depending upon the specific enlightened qualities that they embody, the deities may have peaceful or wrathful appearances. The sadhanas prescribed for these deities are meant to destroy or transform habits of the mind, often by unconventional methods. In recent decades, some of the Tibetan Buddhist lamas have been more willing to bestow initiations and impart commentary on tantric sadhanas, and scholars in the academic world have begun compiling and translating tantric teachings and texts. The 14th Dalai Lama's advice of partially lifting the secrecy in order to avoid the great misunderstandings that has made the written commentary on some of the secret practices readily available in the academic world. Visualization is a major component of tantric practices. Most of the tantric deities are visualized with multiple heads, arms and legs, representing the multifunctional nature of an enlightened mind which they embody. They have key identifiers such as postures, hand gestures or symbols, and colors to tell who they are and what they represent. As these deities embody some yogic or philosophical ideas, their iconic forms are created that are used as a tool for visualization-based practices. The deities of advanced stages of Tantra are portrayed with a backdrop of a cremation ground. Their naked body is adorned with ornaments of bone. The flames around their body depict the yogic heat impassioned. The appearance of tantric deities has twofold facets. The esoteric side, which can be deciphered from tantric texts through lineage teachings held by learned and initiated practitioners, and a facet of popular devotional practices and rituals which plays in the hearts and minds of their lay adherents, in which the traditions of tantric deities vary based on the needs of different people. Tantra practices consist of self-visualization in which the practitioners visualize themselves as the central meditational deities of an elaborate, elegant mandal. However, here the deity has to be visualized precisely with her non-inherent existence emanating from the wisdom of clear light, that is Prabhasvar, of emptiness, that is Shunyata. Similar to any scientific research procedure in which experimental facts are correlated with mathematical symbols to work out a mathematical model, tantric masters also discover the practices of experimenting with their psyche, and the results obtained from their experiments are given a schematic form. This scheme, modeled as an anthropomorphic figure, represents yogic practices abstractly. However, tantric texts are silent on or speak metaphorically about these symbols to avoid their trivialization. A deeper understanding of tantric iconography reveals that much of the symbolism of Tantra has been derived from a profound practice-based tradition that is often esoteric in nature. Tantric manuals suggest that the figures are not icons of being, be it God or human, but icons of ideas in a stylized anthropomorphic mode. With their literature encoded in symbolism and practices veiled in secrecy, people unaware of these esoteric concepts often incorrectly assess such iconography. Any discipline of the scholarship is not just concerned about just collecting the data but also understanding them in their context. Besides the question of what they represent, the question of why and how are equally important. As Ananda Kumaraswamy has pointed out, quote, "For as long as the work of art appears to us in any way exotic, bizarre, quaint, or arbitrary, we cannot pretend to have understood it," unquote. Therefore, unless a discrete and unbiased study of the historicity of Tantra encompassing the perspective of tradition is not done, the misconceptions are bound to persist in our academia. Thank you.